Serving the military has been a one-of-a-kind experience, but we are now entering our next chapter. Texas will forever be a part of our story, and I will always have my rental properties here. I will cherish this town for what it is. However, we are now on to the chapter of chasing dreams and building our empire. Hi, my name is Kaitlyn. I'm an 8-year Air Force veteran. I'm also a realtor and investor in the Abilene, Texas area, where I help first-time homebuyers and wannabe investors become investors to build wealth for their families. However, now we are focused on relocating to the Northern Kentucky area and Cincinnati to focus on our dream life post-military, to build our dream home on the dream land that we purchased last year. And I'm taking you along for the ride for the entire journey. It's a multi-year process, but everything will be here right on this channel. We are still in the early stages of this process, but in this video, I'm going to talk to you about what led us here, what made us choose Kentucky, and the strategic thinking behind the entire idea of building our dream home in Northern Kentucky. I'm also going to be sharing the long-term vision for this home because, let's face it, that's the most exciting part. But if HGTV and Pinterest is your love language, go ahead and subscribe because this one will be worth the wait. I'm going to try to keep this as laid back as possible because I want you to see the in-depth details of the thought processes that are taking us through this build, because we are only doing this once. The reason why we were originally thinking Austin, Texas is because we are very outdoorsy people. We are both from places where you put plants outside and they live and it's colorful and there's a lot to do and it's outdoorsy. You can go to the river, you can go hiking, you can go get food in a food park, you can go take a picnic on the grass, and all of these different things you can do outside. And the music scene is just one of a kind. If you've never been to Austin, definitely go check it out. It's not everyone's taste, but I feel like it was the perfect blend for what we wanted. And we started looking at land and housing, and we were looking in the Bastrop area because it's growing and it's a little bit outside of the city, because we're not like city people, but we want to be able to go into a city to be able to have all the things, groceries, any type of leisure, but be a little bit outside of the city where we can still have some land, have some privacy. But we were looking at land and we could not find anything that was even batting our eye as a possibility. There was some good areas in Bastrop, but for the price, here's the thing, like, take the price out of the picture. Nothing checked all of the boxes that we wanted, because we wanted rolling hills, pretty grass, we want land, open, no stickers. And there were some areas in like outside Dallas, but we weren't wanting to go over there. There was nothing in Austin, and I honestly think that a lot of people don't want to sell their land down there because of all of the developments that are happening in the Bastrop area. I wouldn't want to sell my land either. I think it's stupid that if you sell your land, because that land is appreciating so quick right now. So I don't blame them. But how do we get in? It's been impossible. We analyzed the market for probably 2 years. And you guys might have seen that that's why I became a realtor in Austin. Technically, I'm a realtor in the entire state of Texas, but I did join the Austin Board of Realtors and was setting myself up to operate there. But that was before we started even looking at land outside of Texas. So that was a big whirlwind, and I don't want to say it was a waste of my time, because I made some amazing friends through that association and learned a bit. It's a little different than how we operate here in Abilene, Texas, but we're not moving there. So I should also mention that Texas is a fantastic state to stay if you were a veteran. For example, I mean, there's no state income tax. That's for everybody, but regardless. But there's also the layer that if you're a 100% disabled veteran, that you don't pay property taxes here. So if you do the math and you have a luxury home, that is a lot of taxes. So we did not want to say goodbye to Texas per se, but when it doesn't check the other boxes, what do you do, right? So I ended up simply looking online for strictly the hell of it, because who doesn't like to look at Zillow in random states that you can never afford? And I found this plot of land. Actually, there was like 6 lots that were for sale, and they were gorgeous. I felt like it was a dream. It literally reminded me of this reoccurring dream that I had when I was a child. I would wake up from the same dream, I mean, almost every night. It was a dream of these like beautiful trees and this snow, and this black horse would run through it. And as much as the listing photos weren't snow, it reminded me of that dream, even though there was not like a black horse or the white snow everywhere. I know that that area does snow. And I know that when it snows, it's going to look exactly like that. Since then, we've put some cams up on the land, and I can confirm that it literally is my dream coming to life. But all that goes to say, Texas makes a lot of sense for veterans, but didn't check all of the boxes. That land was in Burlington, Kentucky, and I kept on, waking him up and saying, hey, like, we should check it out. And just didn't really make sense because our roots are so here in Texas. But then when we were visiting family up in Cincinnati, I said, well, why don't we go check it out? And we did. We loved everything about it. We did have to walk around different lots because we were kind of stuck between 2 or 3 of them. And when we walked everything a second time, it really made sense that the lot that we ended up purchasing just stuck with us, and we did it. But before we even get there were so many logistics that felt very complicated between having family here in Texas, having family in different areas of the country, and being military. Everybody's scattered. So where do we go? I'm a big family person, so I want to be near family long term. And because my family is all over the country, it seems, it's so hard to make that decision knowing that some people are in Arkansas and Kentucky and North Carolina or California or Texas or, wherever it is. So where do you go? So many logistics to think about. And then now we're thinking about, well, where are they going to move in 5 years? Are they going to get stationed in another location? Are they wanting to retire somewhere else? We don't want a family compound either. That's like too much. So a little tough. I will add that one of the more difficult parts about this decision on like what state we move to is that relocating is the easiest part. Being military, you're like, oh, go to North Carolina. You're like, okay, cool. Like, that's where I'm going. Go to South Korea. Cool. That's where I'm going. You kind of just go with the flow. It's really the nature of it, whether you like it or not. But now that we have a choice, it's just tough because we're thinking long term. We're not thinking for the next 3 years because that's what an assignment is. It's only for a little bit of time. So where do you go long term, especially when you're investing so much money in your dream home, is like this rocket science question. Like, once you're committed, you're committed. And I'm not just going to buy land, hold on to it. I think that's great, but I'm strategic with my money. I don't want to have it sit there. I'd rather it either make me money or it serve my purpose of my primary residence. So we had to think about that for a while and talk with family on the logistics. And eventually we kind of got the green lights or the red lights on like what we should do. And after discussing with family, we came up with a decision and a game plan, and we said, okay, cool, let's do it. So we visited, we looked at the land, we liked it, came back, talked logistics some more, and then we ended up submitting an offer. And as somebody who submits offers for a living as a realtor, I didn't necessarily feel like I didn't not feel confident, but we did ask under asking because of all the other things that we had to do to the property. I mean, it doesn't have a road. It's not developed whatsoever. There's no water. There's no fiber. There's nothing. So we're going to have to invest a good amount of money into that land. So we were able to negotiate on the price just a little bit. I believe they did pay for our closing costs. We were able to negotiate the commission just because I'm an agent. I do not need to get paid a commission. So we just had the listing agent facilitate the paperwork for us. So he was not our realtor, but I have the knowledge of a realtor because I am a realtor. So we didn't need that. So we saved on cost a good bit there where they could still net roughly the same, which is nice. I don't recommend that for everybody, but I'm in this industry. But the reason why we like Kentucky is that we have family up there. We love the 4 seasons. You can plant something in the ground and it's going to stay alive. Whereas in Texas, it's so yellow. I'm literally looking out the window right now because everything is so dry. And it's not like that everywhere in Texas, but I think we are so used to the dryness in Abilene that we are just ready for the green, refreshing. I clearly love plants. Actually, quick squirrel. You can tell I like greenery. This one is from Sam's Club. Wait, Costco. I think it was like $2.50 to $3.50. So worth it. It's cute. Sorry, I had to close that browser real quick. We like Kentucky because it has the 4 seasons. It does snow, so you have a little bit of that, but it is warm enough where you can go swim in the river. And it's green. So yes, it gets, cold and dry in the winter, but when the other seasons come by, you have the greenery again and you can plant stuff and it stays alive. What a concept. Not in Texas. Let's face it, it's completely gorgeous. And then lastly, I do want to mention that I have always had an inkling to go to Tennessee or Kentucky. Like I said, I'm going to go back to that dream that I had as a kid. I would always have this dream of riding on this gorgeous land. And anytime I go horseback riding in Texas, it's just really not it. Whereas, like, look at these photos, for example. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I would kill to have more of this in my daily life than the dryness here. The equestrian culture in Kentucky is one of a kind as well, and being around that is something that I'm very excited about because I've always ridden Western, but the first time I ever got, well, not the first time I went on an English saddle, because I did do lessons when I was younger, but let's face it, Western's like way different than English, and I rode English somewhat recently and I was humbled because it is so different and it requires so much more balance and skill, and even just the language between you and the horse is completely different. So because that is more prevalent up in that area, I will probably get back into that, which is exciting because there's a bunch of barns and riding schools around where we are going. So it's there. It's not like this hunt in Texas where everybody's a roper. Like, it's completely different in the Western culture. So it'll be interesting getting back into that. So we'll see. So yeah, Texas works for investment properties. I'll die on that hill. The rental market here is a clear indication that yes, like, you should have purchased properties here years ago, and the ones that did are probably doing great now. I sure am. My rentals are thriving. That's a touchy subject. That's another video, another topic for another day. But we've built that rental portfolio, and now we're looking for the long-term settlement. And a lot of that means the flat private land that's gorgeous, that has the 4 seasons, that is near family, that has more things close by. It's a 20-minute drive for me to go to the grocery store right now. Whereas in that land, it's more like 10, but it's also 30 minutes away from the city. Being in Abilene, the closest city is Dallas. That's a 6-hour commitment in one day to drive just to go do some of those things in the city, whereas where we're going, it's maybe like a 20-minute drive to Cincinnati. But a dream home is different, so of course we're making those adjustments. And now that we've made the final decision that that's where we're going, I am beyond excited to share this journey with y'all. As when you are looking for the long term, there are so many other factors that you're putting into play. The lifestyle, the family. It's not just about the deal and how good the rental is going to thrive or the appreciation, but the environment. So we ended up taking the leap. We purchased the land after discussing logistics with family. I will do a whole bunch of different videos regarding soil testing, what to consider when you're buying land, what to consider when you're looking at the perk tests, the conversations with the builders, how we filtered out different builders, how the design process looks, every stage, what the financing looks like. I will give every single detail in terms of this entire process. So if you want to follow the entire journey and you're building your own dream home, definitely follow along. But where we are at right now is super exciting. Things are definitely in motion. We are currently in the design process working with our builder, who is Justin Doyle in the northern Kentucky. They also cover Ohio as well. We got the land. We did the perk test, or the percolation test, while we were in our option period, which was, I think, 21 days. We did a very long option. Typically when you're buying a house, it's around 7 to 10 days. So you can do your inspections to make sure that going through with the deal actually makes sense. But when you're doing a perk test, it can take up to 2 weeks, at least in that local area. And we wanted a couple other days for negotiating or decision making. So we did 21 days, I believe. It might have been a little bit less than that. Because we've found our builder and we're in the design process with them, working with the architect, it feels so surreal. It's getting more tangible. We have elevations, we have floor plans. It's something that we can actually physically see now, which is so exciting. On paper, we haven't broken ground on site prep or anything, but there's a lot of things that are going on behind closed doors right now, whether it's the design, figuring out the layout. We are thinking about the different materials slowly and heavily in Pinterest. So I'll be doing some Pinterest videos, or I'll do some Pinteresting at the very end, because if that's not your love language, then I wouldn't watch the video either. But if you like Pinterest and you want to see everything that I'm Pinteresting, that's going to be at the end of this video. I'll be sharing more videos as everything progresses and as I film more content. But with all of that said, definitely stay tuned because in the long run, this is going to be super exciting and we are stoked because the home is going to be beautiful. For lack of better words, not to talk shit on Texas new builds, but most homes that are built, they are not custom. They look like every other home. And yes, custom might mean changing a door to now a window or changing this stone for that stone. We are working with an architect that can just build anything. He is an engineer by trade, so he has the ability to take something and actually build it versus rebuild the same thing and the same vibe for every single home, and it doesn't seem special. Ours is very special. It might be a little bit more different. There's a lot of things in that home that are not going to be in your average house. So that's where we really need his expertise and bringing other subcontracting specialties into the play to work it all out. We're still trying to figure out how the house will sit on the land because we have so much land, but there's only certain spots where it can really lay because of the topography and the grading, which is super important when it comes to drainage, and then simply just the grading in order to do the foundation, how it's laid, where it's facing. So we have a general idea, but we haven't staked it out quite yet. So until we do that, it is in this variable location. But when it comes to Pinterest, my close friends know that I use worse words, but on this video, I will say I am a Pinterest queen. I am on Pinterest all of the time. If I had to delete any social media or app on my phone and keep just one, it would be Pinterest, 1000%. Pinterest is all inspiration, and I think it is so exciting to use Pinterest because most of us, we like seeing these beautiful homes online. We like to talk about this dream, but the moment you start actually implementing the dream as a reality, I'm on Pinterest all of the time and it's fun, but I'm also getting some of my inspiration from actual builds that I see and working with designers and working with some local architects and looking at their portfolio and what they've worked with. And then also just as an agent, I'm walking homes all of the time. So I have a good sense of what is out there, what I can do, but we are adding a lot more of a special touch to it because we want this to be different. We don't want it to look like your average home that everybody walks in and it's like, okay, yeah, there's your Texas new build. All that goes to say the vibe that we're going for. We're thinking like modern European countryside with a mix of Scandinavian modern, neutral, natural, a lot of lines, stone, mixed materials, brass, gold, neutrals, white oak with a lot of those different features, the big windows, the bright brick stucco or a lot of stone, and mood lighting and the overhang, a good place to host. I love to host, I love to cook, so having a butler's pantry and having a big back deck where we can have an outdoor table to sit, and also designing for wellness. Someone who has PCOS, I am constantly working on my health, whether it's eating healthy, supplementation, doing Dutch tests. I am actually wearing a glucose monitor on my arm right now. Not that I have diabetes or anything, but I like to see how I react to food. And I do red light and all of these different things. I have Peloton and a walking pad at home, and I do yoga, and having all of that at home is going to be more practical. It's not going to be in the garage where it's dusty. Been there, done that. Having an actual dedicated room within your house, I think is amazing. And so we're designing around that as well. A lot of health and wellness. So it's not about trends. Like I said, we want something to feel like it's more for the long term. And I've always been driven to more like rich wood colors and neutrals and blacks because it is a little bit more variant. I personally think that it gets you closer or makes you feel like you're closer to earth. And those neutral colors, they're just more timeless. The neutrals, the whites, the browns, the tans, the golds, the brass, the greens. So I've always liked earthy. That's what we're going for. But we also have a lot of modern touches. So I'm very excited to share everything with you guys. But all of the design, that's the part that excites me the most. But you've pretty much seen where exactly we're at right now. We are doing calls with our builder. We are doing that about like once a week. I will do another video for that. But this is just like the first announcement that, hey, we're building our dream home, and feel free to follow our journey. So if you're into building, relocating, investing, or you just want to follow along for the long-term vision of what we are doing, you are definitely in the right place. Let me know what you guys are interested in the comments, and I'll definitely make sure to do a video on that. I will be posting updates on my Instagram, Facebook, probably my TikTok, and of course my YouTube. I am beyond excited to share this journey with you guys, and I will be posting more videos up in the near future. Make sure you subscribe so you can keep updated on our journey because we are just getting started.